Well, right here on the operations manual, page 10, after you roll, plot points may be spent to, and we'll take the top one, add an extra die from your roll to your total. Well, let's say you're playing Spider-Man and you've run down your data file and you're going to be rolling about 5 dice to accomplish your action in the story. And you do have a plot point. I'm using a little counter here to represent that. And you make your die roll. And remember, the basic mechanic is you roll this. If you get any ones, you set those aside. We didn't roll any ones. And we have to pick 2 dice to form our total. We covered this around, I think, in the first video. So let's say we want to take this this 8 and 7 to form our number for our total. So we're going to have 15 there. But we really know we need to do just a little bit better than that. We can spend, we've already rolled the dice, we can spend this plot point. We'll put that back in the pool and we can add one more of the dice that we rolled to that total. So we can actually keep 3 dice. And maybe we'll have this D10 as our effect dice, or our effect die. So our total will jump from 15 to 18, giving us maybe just the little bit of edge we needed to overcome the challenge. Well, we've covered this one. What about this one? Keep an extra effect die. Well, let's kind of replay this situation. Let's give ourselves our plot point back. And we made this roll. We've kept these 2 dice. Let's just say this one was like a 2 or something. So we kept our 2 highest dice there. And we need to choose an effect die. And we decide to keep the D10. That's the highest die type out of the ones available. But then we want to do something where we're going to need 2 effect dice. Maybe we're trying to attack multiple targets. Well, we can spend a plot point and we'll add this D8. Remember, it doesn't matter what's on the face of those dice. We're looking at the die type. So 15 is our total, but we've got a D10 and a D8 for the effect. If you're wondering what kind of things you can do with an extra effect die, that's covered on page 12, and it says that you want to think of this as really being some sort of combo effect. It could be for attacking multiple opponents. It could be for targeting an opponent and inflicting some stress, but then you also might want to create an asset that's going to help one of your buddies. And we'll talk a little bit more about assets and complications soon. But there are some instances where keeping an extra effect die can really be good. The next one on the list is activate an opportunity rolled by the watcher. Well, we know that when someone rolls a 1, that's an opportunity for their opponent to do something extra. So let's take a look at what a player can do when the watcher rolls a 1 when rolling the Doom Pool. Well, when the watcher is rolling the dice against you and he rolls or she rolls a 1, it's an opportunity for you to spend one of those plot points and activate it. And what does that mean? Well, we talked before about spending a plot point to get a D6 push die. That means you're just adding a D6 in there before you roll the dice. Or you can spend that plot point to get a stunt die, which was a D8. Well, just think of it this way. When the watcher rolls a 1 and you decide to spend your plot point to activate it, you're going to get that push die or stunt die as normal, but it's going to be stepped up one step. So the D6, which is the one you would get without really sort of any explanation, a little bit of luck or some small advantage that you create in the story, that's going to pump up to an 8. You'll be rolling a D8 instead of a D6. Or if you've got your cool description ready to go in your next, at the next time you're going to be rolling the dice, that stunt die is going to boost from a D8 all the way up to a D10. So you're just going to get a little bit of extra power out of that. So you're going to be spending the plot point anyway, but when the Watcher rolls a 1, it allows you to sort of supercharge that dice a little bit. Activating those opportunities that are rolled by the Watcher when you're spending that plot point. There's a little bit here about stepping up an asset or creating a resource. We're going to get back to that. It can be a little confusing to jump into that too quickly. So let's sort of skip over that one and we'll drop down to this next one. Instead of creating a die, you can use the activated opportunity as a trigger for some SFX or limits. And usually that's explained on the character sheet. We've already spent some time talking about SFX, so remember those are usually on the data file and will be explained, and it will tell you, spend a PowerPoint to do this. So I don't think we really need to spend a lot more time on that one. Some SFX you'll need to spend that plot point before you roll, and some can be activated after you roll. But here's a neat one. Use an effect die from a reaction roll. Well, what does that mean? Well, to find out what a reaction roll is all about, you need to jump all the way up to, it's about page 49 in the operations manual. And let's talk about it here. Well, after the dice have been rolled and you have a total and an effect die, your opponent gets to roll a reaction. And the opposition gathers the dice, makes their dice pool, just as if they're taking an action normally, and then they get to roll. This is their attempt to react to what your roll is doing to them. So let's put it in simple terms. Let's sort of reverse the situation and say the Watcher is having one of the enemies attack you. Let's pick a Spider-Man enemy like Carnage. And let's say the Watcher rolls the dice in an attempt to attack Spider-Man, and you're playing Spider-Man. So Carnage is attacking and makes his roll. Well, Spider-Man decides to roll his dice gathered from his data file in response or in reaction to Carnage's attack. Well, what kind of description do we want to give such a reaction roll? Well, maybe Carnage is attacking with some sort of deadly strike at Spider-Man's chest, and you're going to say that Spider-Man is quickly going to put up both hands in front of him and attempt to deflect the blow to the side using his super fast reflexes. Well, at this point, you guys make your die rolls, and then you're looking to resolve the action, and you compare the two totals. And the higher total is going to win and make use of their effect die. We'll take a look here and say that Carnage made his roll, and you're making your reaction roll, attempting to deflect that attack, and your roll is tied with the roll that Carnage made against you. In that instance, a tie is not good enough, actually. You're going to need to beat the total of Carnage's attack. So that's not good enough. However, if your effect die, the one that you rolled, happens to be that die that you put to the side for an effect, if it happens to be bigger, a larger die than Carnage's that he's using to attack you with, then the only benefit you get from that is that he has to step, or she has to step, that effect die back by 1. So let's say Carnage is attacking and the effect die was a D10. It's going to do a 10 D10 in damage or stress to you. And let's say somehow you manage to roll not good enough to beat Carnage's roll, but you happen to have an effect die of 12. Well, that is going to somewhat soften the blow. So maybe you didn't completely avoid it or block it, but you kind of took some of the fire out of it. So that's going to be reduced 1 step to a D8. Now, what if the action fails? What if Spider-Man's total is actually higher than what Carnage got? Well, this is where you can spend a plot point, and you can have an effect. To put it simply, if your total was higher than the attack, and you have that plot point to spend, then you've not only avoided the attack that Carnage was making, but you actually managed to avoid and land a counter blow. Or maybe you deflected the attack with both of your arms, and then you managed to grab onto Carnage and slam him into the brick wall. Something like that. It basically allows you to use the effect die that you rolled. Normally that's just tossed aside when you are making your reaction roll. You're just trying to avoid, get a higher total. But if you have a plot point to spend, you can actually not only avoid that attack or avoid the danger, but you can use your effect die to create some other effect back at the source that was attacking you. So it could be a counterattack, but you'd need a plot point to do that. So we went on a little bit, actually quite a bit, about an effect die from a reaction roll. But that's a pretty important part. That's kind of a neat way to work that into the story. You duck under the attack and then manage your own uppercut against the opponent that was attacking you. One of the last ones that you can use, a way that you can use your plot point after the dice are rolled. Let's say that you're playing the Incredible Hulk and there was an attack against you. And the attack was successful and it caused you some stress, some physical stress. Let's say it was, we'll just make it something small, like a D6. Physical stress. Well, you can spend a plot point to change the stress you've taken to another type. So remember, on the data file you've got this stress and trauma track here. That P is for physical stress, the M is for mental stress, and the E is for emotional stress. And the book will explain those different types. But let's say the attack against the Hulk was going to be a physical stress, but the player decides to spend a plot point and change that D6 that was going to be physical stress, and we'll change it over here and make it emotional stress. So the attack didn't hurt the Hulk, it just made him angry. Well, why don't we stop it there for tonight? I know this is beginning to sound quite complicated, and in all honesty, it took me several times to read through the rule book to start getting things straight, and actually taking some notes. But once you start playing the game, it starts to flow pretty well, and you may forget some things here and there, and that's okay. The object of the game is to tell a good story, and if you forget, well, I could have tweaked it this way or used an extra die over here and I forgot to spend my plot point to do this, it really doesn't matter. Those are just ways that you can slowly over time master the system and get it running perfectly. But I'll probably recommend in the end, after we cover some more of these rules, how to play in a way that's a bit streamlined, just to get started, and sort of put some of the extra tiny dice maneuvering and pool manipulation. We can put that to the side and just really focus on the basic mechanic and start telling some stories there. And then as you get comfortable with that, you can add in the extra layers that will allow you to fully enjoy this role-playing game the way it was meant to be played. So we'll stop there tonight, and we'll continue a little bit more with plot points, and we may talk about assets, complications, and resources in a future video. I'm trying to do my best here to prepare players to be able to play the game, and then we might show some sample play, and then we'll come back and talk about what it means to be the watcher and how the watcher is going to play his or her part. Thanks for watching.